Welcome to the People's Economy Podcast, the only podcast where we keep it all the way real. Our mission is to educate you with knowledge, empower you with information. So, one thing we've been noticing in the headlines, there was a company coming. There was a lot of hope for this company. They promised to have a lot of selling the ways with this one. They thought they were running up. The name of the company is Quibi. They were going to be a stream provider. They were looking to market towards younger individuals. They were going to stream content straight to people's phones. It would look real promising. They had an excellent staff, an excellent group of board, members that created things like DreamWorks animation. They had some big wigs on the board. It looked promising, but after just 6 months, the project seemed to go under. What do you think they did wrong, and what do you think they could have done better?
So I think they definitely tried to have a target audience of younger people, which was smart. But I guess due to circumstances, the way their format was to have it just on your phone when people were in the house for months. I think that kind of limited their potential because you didn't which was probably unforeseen. I'm sure, like I'm sure they didn't plan for that, but nevertheless, that ends up being a factor. What they did do right was trying to get subscribers and trying to create content with like big name celebrities. I think it was Kevin Hart and had content and Jennifer Lopez, and so they had big names, but they were trying to be subscriber based, and I think maybe they might have missed or undersold the fact that their technology needed to change a little quicker. The fact that the actual app needed to be able to update and do more adaptable things due to circumstances.
I agree with you 100% because it's like here you go launching something that's for consume content on the go, but at that time they put us on a standstill. So your business plan kind of gets like you're playing football, you get caught in the safety zone to say the least. Now you're
Right,
down -2, starting trying to
right.
figure out a whole new marketing plan. Maybe they also misspent. You got to market to a younger generation different. You can't market the same way you would market to baby boomers that you was market to millennial. So maybe they kind of missed them with the marketing too. Maybe they didn't do enough social media marketing and things like that. They try to go more traditional like radio and TV, but you were missing the millennials with that.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I think they mentioned in the article that you couldn't. One of the reasons they failed is because you couldn't take a screenshot of the content and share it.
Mm,
So they missed the boat on being, because people are on Twitter or whatever, and that's how you sort of get your name out there. And you couldn't share content right, at least right away. I believe they fixed it later on, but out the gate you weren't able to share content via other platforms, and that of course you're going to limit yourself that way too. How could I don't even understand how could your market be young kids and that's not like your biggest thing, like the social media. Make sure all of those I's are dotted and T's are crossed. You want to make sure all of that with the social media, with that crowd. They're all about the doing things via socially. That's what it is. So they missed out on that boat.
yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes, especially these were big wigs. So when you get too big, you get a little cocky. So you think the approach you used maybe to launch Disney animation you can use to approach something towards younger viewers. I mean, you get cocky in the marketing plan, you get too comfortable. You got to re-strategize and restructure. And when you're going at these new millennials, it's a whole different world. So that old stuff, I don't think is really going to cut it because they're streaming anyway. They're not even watching TV. They're streaming the music on Apple Music. So if you're going to add like on Hot 97 or something like that, you're probably not reaching the demographics. You got to run SoundCloud, maybe Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You got to go to the where the audience is.
No, you're 100% correct. So what do you think is the biggest thing missing then out of for a company like Quibi? What do you think is the biggest thing we could take from them, I guess, going under in 6 months that they missed or that should have been more important to them, and how do you market exactly to the younger audience? What are these companies missing that would make a company only last 6 months and fold?
I think one thing they might have mistaken is they said you can only stream to your phone, like so that what they're cutting off, like TVs, smart TVs,
Mm,
iPads, and
mm,
you can use iPad, but still your smart TV, your computer, your
right,
Amazon Prime. Still, you want to be compatible with all. So somebody's going to pay for like a service. The more compatible it is, the more customers you're going to get feel comfortable using your platform.
right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You definitely got to you definitely would have to use that strategy for sure.
But I understand where they're coming from because, you know, as like when you're gonna go, like they were going against all big wigs. They're going against Netflix, Disney. So you kind of got to go big or go home with that. So they tried. Maybe they didn't launch. They tried to launch big because they knew their competitors were so ahead of them. So they could overspend marketing early, ran out of the budget. But you got to launch big. That's the thing. That's also it makes it kind of hard when watching stocks. When you're watching like to invest in a company, you're seeing these new companies, you're reading all this great information, like they look promising, but it's like you got to figure how you're going to pick like the company that's going to make it, not the one that's going to fail. Because from a distance, they all look promising, so you kind of have to narrow down, you know, your selection, develop your own style of looking into companies that you may be looking to invest in. I think in the streaming world, actually, speaking of that, if you look, Disney just cut their dividend. They're going to take all that money, the dividend money, and they're going to purchase new content for Disney Plus to compete with these other companies. So they jumped into a big world. Apple. These aren't small fish in this pond. They jumped in with Netflix, Disney,
Yeah, yeah. No, you definitely. I mean, you're
Fox,
talking
right?
about juggernauts. The juggernauts is out there for the company wise, and I think it's so it's not it's probably shouldn't look at it as a it's definitely not a fail for a company like Quibi to come out. I think we could all see what they were trying to do, so it'll end up being a blueprint probably for maybe something else or somebody else to do something like that when times are different, because then it could work. But when you're dealing with the big stream wars, the big stream wars are different. I think that's what's going on right now. And to compete with the Netflixes and the Disney Plus, I think the only way to do that is to have deep amount of content. Netflix, Disney Plus. Think about it. Every Disney, Marvel, ESPN, all of that is under the Disney Plus app. So look how much they already have a fan base that they're bringing in automatically, and they're going to get more because Disney's just the biggest. And then a company like Netflix, they're streaming movies that came out already, and they have their own content. So they also have and it's for a good price. You could get like you get a streaming service for not for pretty cheap. That's the new what that's probably what a smaller company missed out on now when you are at the house having a deep catalog of content.
Yeah, and I agree. You nailed it on the button. I think they could have sent a blueprint. I think maybe another company, maybe they were too early, but another company could come in, maybe hit the marketing correct,
Mm,
and actually pick up what they, follow the blueprint, do it correct. I think something like that could take off. Yeah, it's also good that you see the way you mentioned Disney has Marvel, they have ESPN, they have Hulu, they have the whole Disney catalog, and they're still taking all this millions and billions of dollars and going to purchase new content. That's how competitive this space is. Because Netflix, they have a lot of incredible, their own movies, their own series. Like they're kind of ahead of the game on actual content when it comes to like original content. I would say.
what do you see? Like you're 100% correct. So what do you see these companies like doing in the next couple of years due to the circumstances of what's going on, and streaming being perfect for like it's the perfect time for streaming. It's just so convenient. You can have as much movies, as much TV shows, as much everything. Where do you think a company like or a brand like a Netflix or something like that is going to go? How do they scale up and get and take over almost the movie theater?
Mm.
industry, or does the movie theater industry try to pull a play and come back in with a creative new approach?
That's a good question. You also have HBO. Looks like they're jumping in the ring too.
Mm,
I
mm,
think they were the original Netflix. They actually had great content. If you remember, they had Sopranos.
right,
They had
right.
The Wire. They had a bunch of shows.
Great
Even
catalog.
the Gotti movie. Like they kind of started, but Netflix, they kind of 10x their blueprint and have like TV shows, movies, programs,
Right.
and you see Disney actually. Speaking of the movie theater business, Disney tried to release a couple of movies for like $40 at the house, but I don't think it really went that well. So they are trying to, kind of change the movie theater experience to more home, but I don't think it did the numbers that they were expecting. And that's actually why movie theaters shut back down, not because they shut down because they don't have the new movies to play to draw the audience in to make the capital
Mm,
that they used to make. There's no new content out in the movie theater, and that's why movies
right.
shut down because they don't have the budgets to open without the big movies coming out. They push back like a 007 movie or something like the big movie of the year. They push back for next year, and at that point, all the movie theaters had to shut down because they can't afford to stay open.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't really think of that, but you're 100% right. Because the movie theaters that are open, there are some movie theaters that are open. I didn't think of that. Like, what are they playing? Like, there's nothing. You haven't seen a commercial for a new movie in a minute. We haven't seen a commercial or ad for a new, or maybe you see one or two here or there, and it's like next year already. It's already for like 2021. So I think that's the focus. But I guess that's the fact that streaming, they don't need a particular place. You can stream from anywhere. It just makes it so versatile that you might have to go back to move forward now. You might have to get innovative and do like almost some drive-through theaters now if you want to stay around for. But then that space, that's real estate you need a lot of things for that. But there might be a place for that if movie theaters are going to even try to stay around. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. They tried like a soft opening. They played old movies like old classics from I guess the '90s, 2000s, the '80s, and I guess they had a little bit of turnout over there. But I see what you're saying. There's a lot of people actually just starting like drive up movie theaters with the old movies, and people are going out as like a family night. It's $20 a car. But you can people are actually doing it where they buy the equipment and they'll go to like a big complex or a big mall and actually the mall will pay them. They pull up with the equipment. You play a movie. I mean, I guess it's another avenue to make another stream of revenue if you want to be creative.
Yeah, I think you have to, especially because you gotta bring people out, right? You gotta make people want to even come outside and feel comfortable with doing that. So the drive through is a good idea. A drive-in movie theater is a good idea. I don't know. Obviously, we can't predict the future, so I don't know how long like people want to do that. But for right now, I think people, yeah, you get to pay a little bit, less to just pretty much be in my car the whole time and still get the movie experience. I can be comfortable as I want. I can, you know what I mean, do as I want. So that is there, but ultimately, I think we definitely in streaming. We're in the streaming era. At the end of the day, we're in the streaming era, and these companies are going to find clever new ways to even make even more content and more ways for it to be accessible. And because it's not just the Netflix, it's also the Spotify's and the Apple Music. That's content streaming too. There's music too. Music is streaming, so it's so free flowing, and it could be combined. It's hard to stop those. It's hard to stop the stream. It's
It's,
hard.
yeah, it's a lot of technology right now trying to you know code all these things, figure out new ways to make these devices more like compatible, more fluid. Just connect, run smoother. I believe in the Apple phone. I don't know if the Apple 12 and the new
Uh,
iPad, they might be coming out with a new chip, Apple. I'm not sure. Double check that. There might be something different about their new products because, they're making things,
I
run
think
more
you're
efficient.
right.
There's a higher demand right now.
I think you're right. Like I think I might be I might be super wrong with this, but I think the new Apple 12, like you don't even, you know how you could plug your charger in, it don't even have that. Like you only wireless charge it, like you just wireless charge. So they're trying to make it just, perfectly aerodynamic now. But that's tech. That's where tech could go, right? That's where
Yeah,
tech could go.
even when I went to the Verizon store to buy a charger, it was touchless.
Right,
They texted me to fill out my credit card information on my phone,
right.
and I paid like that in the store, and they have the iPad or the small device. So
That's it. And that's it. You're in and out. Now you can do your whole transaction just simple. And those systems are doing good. And look, people are using iPads, so Apple wins again, right? Apple wins again when you go into the T-Mobile or the Verizon store and you got to sign something. They're on the app. They're on the iPad. So that's a lot of times that's how it goes.
exactly.
Yeah. So they've done well, but that goes to I guess branding too. That's important too. Apple has done a good job of branding themselves as quality, and that stands the test of time. I think that because I believe the numbers did amazing during the whole while we were inside for that whole time. Apple was doing great, and I think they're still doing pretty great, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, that brings me into the next topic. Next week, a lot of these big tech companies, Microsoft, Facebook, Twilio, Apple, they're reporting their earnings. That's going to be a fun week next week. That's probably
Mm,
gonna, like predict how the market goes for the next couple of weeks.
wow, that's definitely a big one. I mean, yeah, that's huge. How do you think how do you think it will impact? What do you think the impact will be?
I think I think they're going to blow the numbers away. I think they're going to all beat on earnings. I think Facebook's definitely going to beat on earnings. I think Apple is going to destroy earnings.
Yeah,
Microsoft with their cloud based,
right, right.
Twilio with their cloud services. Um, I wouldn't count tech out, especially big.
No, there's no way you can count out big tech. They've they've been like we always say they've been ready for this. Big tech has been ready for this for the switch for a long time. I think the fact that the fact that people can conveniently use apps to do pretty much everything, man. You can run your whole business now off apps. So if you could control money and cash flow like that, tech is where it's at. Tech is not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, there's actually one company they own, Quicken Loans, I think TurboTax, and they're looking to acquire um, Credit Karma, and you can actually buy
Mm,
the one stock.
wow, wow. That's a nice bundle. That's a nice bundle right there. That's a good bundle because all of them. Yeah, I think a lot of people use all of those. A lot of people use all three of those things. So
Especially now with this stay home and
right, right.
itself.
Right. Exactly. Do you? I mean, listen. This is yeah. Things like that are gonna do well because people have to learn now more too about uh setting up tech. You got to know way more technology. You think like their average person now has to know way more tech than they did a couple months ago just to function in the new system. Like to function in the new system, you have to know a little bit of tech now because you had to order food at one point. You had to order groceries like that at one point. So everybody had to step their game up. So the leverage the tech game has on society as a whole is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, this year I would agree with you. A lot of industries been like disrupted, like shopping went from brick and mortar to more e-commerce. Like
Yes, for sure, definitely that.
watching TV turn to more Netflix, Disney Plus, even YouTube. These different type of ways of consuming content,
Right, right,
and even just to do those two basic things alone, you have to educate yourself. More
right.
technology just to. be savvy, doing these little small things.
No, that's definitely true. But hopefully by now people have kind of at least taking a look, take a look at the market, or take a look at investing in general, or just what's going on economically. Especially, I mean, we're here in New York, but all over the world, and definitely the country. I hope people are taking a look at certain patterns that are going on, and how this is a great time to do business. I think this is a great encouraging time to do actual business. If you want to even think about opening still a brick and mortar, I think you could think about it. You may not have to do it, but you could think about it still, because I think this is the time that you want to. This is the upswing, right? This is the V, right? This is
That
where you
that's
get
funny.
the other side.
I'm thinking that like today. I'm watching the Facebook stock. I'm like, everybody and their mother is on Facebook. Like, how many people actually think like maybe I should buy a share of this? Would be
Right,
smart.
right,
To educate yourself a little bit. At least
right,
simple things like that. Like
right.
everybody's on it. Like,
Now you're definitely
why
right.
all day long? Why not buy a share or two?
You should. I mean, that's like that should be. It's practical. It's practical. Just go with stuff you know. That's always the way, right? Familiar. People like familiar, and Facebook is very familiar. Don't
You
forget.
got,
Don't forget people that have Instagram too. Your Instagram is Facebook too. So don't mind them.
even when you WhatsApp with your friends and family on WhatsApp, that's Facebook too.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. So everything, every way to communicate, every way to communicate. Pardon.
And these were all used like times 10 during these last few months of everybody home. All three of those platforms probably seen high subscribers and new
Yeah.
users and new pages. So
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
actually, Monday or Tuesday, Snapchat destroyed their numbers. So they said it off. Social media platforms are looking for good numbers this quarter. So Facebook
it,
being one of the leaders.
it makes sense. Social media platforms for the win over this year. Probably this is technology year. This is a technology year. The year that technology won. Technology definitely won this year. The tech company. But there's so much industry created. There's going to be so much industry created off tech companies. Period. That they're gonna run everything soon. Music, everything. The brick and mortar. I mean, look how many stores went under. Now it's a lot.
That's why now tech went up. Wall Street always likes to try to like say, "Oh, maybe you should put your money out of tech and buy these recovery stocks that's gonna recover from the economy reopening." I really don't think they're gonna outperform tech.
No, probably not. I mean, you never know, but
The long run though, over the long run,
no, they're not set up for that. They're not set up for that. It's different. It's different now. This is a different. We hit a different button now to get to a different level, and I think the only thing set up for that is something that's not attached, meaning like it's not the internet's everywhere. You don't got to be attached to nothing. It could go everywhere. So the brick and mortars don't need to be there. Think about the setup before, right? The Even banks were starting to be like one teller and like just machines. Like that's all it was before everything. That's how they change it. And now you could do banking pretty much online. I think I've seen a number. Most people do their banking online now, and that's probably how it'll be. You'll do your banking online. So and look at this the sample size of that. It's not that long. It hasn't been that long, and people already changed that behavior. They're already doing mostly all their banking online because it's just more convenient. Um, that's that tells you a lot right there.
yeah, man. These times definitely made people see how convenient like technology can make it. That's what I don't know. I actually seen another article saying that older investors are selling off their uh, shares and whatnot in their portfolio to younger investors. So I'm curious to see. I think different companies are going to strive because the new generation they analyze stocks and companies in the world way different than the generation of baby boomers that's selling off their portfolio to these young investors. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see.
What do you
And
think the big difference is between the baby boomer investor and the new investor? What do you think? What's some key things that you think are different between the two?
I think the baby boomers in them, they were into like gas. They were real into like Exxon Mobil, things like
Mm,
that.
mm,
Oil. I think the newer generation is going to be more interested in even overbuying EV electric vehicle stocks. Companies like Charging Point's actually going to be an Exxon Mobil for electric vehicles. In the future, I think you're going to see charging points like same as seeing a Shell gas station, and that's for electric vehicles. I think they're going to put their money in Tesla, Hyliion, Blank, Power Plug. These companies with evaluations that are all based on future value. I don't think the older investors are looking at the market the same way. I think young investors, like I was just saying, gonna look more into technology and cloud-based, service device companies like Apple that cover both.
right.
Um, Probably even e-commerce, even retail. They're gonna look in more like Etsy, Amazon, Alibaba, Shopify. They probably won't buy Macy's, uh, companies like that. They probably look to buy more e-commerce type and more EV rather than retail and gas and oil. That's just one or two differences I see in the young investors as opposed to the baby boomers.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the differences because they might make they might make a company like Etsy just huge. It just becomes giant. You know what I'm saying? Etsy just blows up because that's where they want to put that's where they want to invest their money at. But I think they're definitely going to switch. It's not the traditional way. Probably a little situational though, because I don't think the baby boomers didn't know as much about the what we know now with the technology thing. I get it. This is probably far fetched at that time. What's going on right now, but now we're in it, and then you could pretty much maneuver however you want to maneuver at this point. You could do whatever. Right? People are running whole businesses, whole corporations are running from home. From people are at home to be able to do all kinds of it, banking, anything, e-commerce, all that. You can open a small business online. People have done that from home, so access is access is easy now, easier. So it's a little different now. They didn't have the same. You go with the times. At that time, Exxon was the thing. That was the thing that was like, oh, this is going to be the new thing. But now there is a newer thing, and I think it'll just keep advancing. But it's just going to be in the tech. It's going to be in the tech world. It'll definitely be in the tech world.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it on the button. That also, even the technology like that, the baby boomers, like regular retail investors, they didn't have access to information and technology like we have, and they might not be as fluid as us to operate a whole online brokerage account on a cell phone.
Mm, mm, okay.
They might not be as savvy as using Google and YouTube
Right.
to find things and information on these companies as quick as we can find these information on our phones within seconds.
No, that's definitely true. The 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 gap there is large. Of being able to navigate the new way because technology changes so often that you almost gotta just be with it. You just gotta know how the systems work. But like I said, people do know more than before now. You got to know a little internet now. Everybody got to know a little internet now. You got to know like a little bit how to do it, which is a big step for just once again this for technology. And speaking of technology, let's say a company like Sony, right? Sony's coming out with PlayStation 5 for I think not next month. How do you think? First of all, how do you think not just that particular, but game it like electronics and
Mm.
companies like that are gonna benefit from the situation right now with people being home more? How do you think they'll benefit, or do you think there will even be a benefit to it?
Oh yeah, I think gaming is definitely gonna be a much bigger industry after these times. I'm seeing companies like Activision, Blizzard on a lot of like buy now this stock.
Mm.
Tencent is even gaming, I think, in China. Nintendo, Microsoft owns uh, Xbox, so
Right. Right.
even small companies like Zynga, which is like mobile gaming, and you also have a SPAC right now with some LCA. They're gonna actually reverse merger with Golden Nugget, which is online gambling, which is under the gaming. You have DraftKings, which they're saying is fully priced in. Like the stock ran up so much, they're saying the stock's fully much full priced in. They're saying maybe something like LCA, you can get it now. Maybe you make some money because the market cap is nowhere near as big as DraftKings. So if you buy LCA, you can maybe still catch the run up like DraftKings did. Um,
Okay.
you can look into a company like Zynga, Activision Blizzard.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
think
I mean,
gaming is gonna do good.
it has because it kind of has no choice. It's like the perfect storm for right now of what's going on. I think it's probably been doing well for a long time gaming, but now it's like I said with a company like Sony, and them coming out with Christmas. How do you think this year's retail will be? How do you think that will change? Like as far as not being able to do the Black Friday sales per se in store, how do you think the online aspect of that is going to change the market, and will it be changed forever? Will people just do Black Friday online? You think?
I mean, right now, being that it's like October 24th,
Yes.
and there's a lot about the that stimulus deal. Like they're saying that the holiday season, people are gonna spend more if that stimulus deal is announced. I think a lot of consumer spending this holiday season is gonna be based on if that stimulus package goes through this year or next
Mm,
year.
okay. Okay. No, you're right because it that people are. I guess some people are banking on that to sort of help with that with spending because you got people do have to put money back into the market too. Not a
Yeah, but if that stimulus, people are gonna have a lot of extra money to spend that they didn't have, that they're more likely to splurge. During
right,
Black Friday or
right.
that week, even that week after Christmas to New Year's, you get a lot of big sales.
And do you think that this is the new way? Do you think if this is successful or not? Maybe I shouldn't say successful, but if this ends up being a huge, crazy blowout for Black Friday online sales, do you think people will start to do only that, or do you think it will go back to sort of retail and then you have your online sale?
That's a very good question. I think if you look, Amazon actually did Prime Day early this year in October, and
Yeah.
actually did great on Prime Day. I think if you can get quality products, like because if you go out, you can like retail, you're definitely getting quality products. Online, if they put like items that aren't important on the sales, you have to put good product. I think if Amazon or these companies put great products similar to what's in the store, I think they'll definitely take a chunk of that Black Friday retail market from brick and mortar.
Mm, okay. Okay. Because it will almost have no choice. Like they're gonna have to take some of the stream of people, the consumers coming in because they're in a perfect spot for it.
I mean, I still think Walmart and stores like that are going to do very well on Black Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. That might be. I would say. I think they will have traffic. They will have traffic in the actual retail spots as much as I guess could be allowed, but online is definitely going to be probably the most booming it's ever seen for a Black or Cyber Monday, or they might have to do it for a week. You might have to have Cyber Week where it's a bunch of stuff like that because I think people have gotten a little more savvier from a technology standpoint, and they're probably gonna um maybe besides clothes, because even clothes, people still buy clothes online. But you
Mm.
can get all your toy. Think about it, like toy stores. There is no toy stores, so you probably got to go. Online e-commerce has probably done well with selling toys, and this is going to be the time for that. If you can get toys now in your e-com store, you're probably going to do well. There is no Toys R Us. You don't have that big brand in your way. So that's probably a little gem. Probably a little gem. Think about the toy store. Think about the toy store right now. But yeah, it's not around.
It looks like the numbers are showing that. I think like maybe in February or so, as consumers, uh, maybe about 10% we consumed e-commerce, 90% brick and mortar. I think those
Mm.
numbers changed to around like 22% online. So I think that in the last 6 months or so, consumers, the number doubled from at least 10% to 20% of consumers shopping online as opposed to brick and mortar. And I'm sure it's gonna be like a wave, and the holiday season is gonna add on to that.
Yeah, it'll all be it'll all be affected at the end of the day. Like it's all going to make uh, a good amount of revenue because I think people want to spend, but like you said, a lot of it is being based off this new stimulus package. Definitely uh, controls a good amount. We know that. We know that.
I think even if they just like announce that they're gonna do it in January,
Mm,
it'll
right,
spend more in December.
right, right.